have a story to tell.
Federico Machado's a hard man to find, but we found him living somewhere in his homeland of Argentina. He's fighting extradition on drug smuggling and fraud charges.
The way they portray me in the indictment, it's like you're now talking to a Chapo. The feds have nothing against me, okay, on the criminal case, on the drug case, zero. I'm not a saint, right? I made mistakes, but I'm not a narco trafficker.
Whether Federico Machado is a narco trafficker, we don't know. What we do know, a series of stories we aired starting in 2019 led to a federal investigation resulting in his indictment. But before we tell you more about Machado, let's go back to where it all started. Thousands of miles away from Argentina and on Alaska. An East Texas town nestled along the shores of Lake Livingston. You'd never know by looking at it, but there were more planes registered in Alaska than in cities such as Seattle, San Antonio, San Diego, and New York City. More than 1,000 planes were registered in this small town, all to these 2 P.O. boxes. And Alaska doesn't even have an airport.
Where's the catch to this?
The former mayor had no idea that many planes were registered in this town.
What would be the advantage of listing them here?
Alaska, we found, was the epicenter of a practice that resulted in foreigners anonymously registering their planes. Here's how. The FAA allows foreign nationals to get U.S. registration for their aircraft by transferring the title to a trust company. All U.S. registered aircraft carry an N-tail number. So if you check the FAA's records, the aircraft would be registered in the name of the trust company, not the foreign owner.
There's a lot of legitimate reasons why you would want to have an unregistered airplane, especially people in Texas that have business interests here and in Mexico. If you're operating the airplane in and out of the U.S., it draws much less scrutiny.
There's a sense of confidence that, gee, the Americans must have approved what's going on here. It's got the stamp of approval of the United States of America.
In Alaska, the trust company registering those planes was Aircraft Guarantee Corp. The company's aircraft were repeatedly found outside of the United States, loaded with drugs. Some of their planes crashed. People died, and the real owners could not be identified as required by law.
There's a fundamental problem. Under the auspices of the trust, you can conceal the ownership of planes, details about the planes, details about who flies the planes.
People are using the trust loophole to basically fly under the radar.
Federal investigators started digging after our coverage.
That's where the interest started.
Tonight we're going to take you to Onalaska, Texas.
The investigative reporting about these 1,100 planes being registered in Onalaska, Texas, that had no airport.
Investigators confirmed WFAA's findings and found new alleged criminal activity. The law says trust companies must know who's operating their aircraft, where it's located, and how it's being used. The government says that didn't happen with Aircraft Guarantee Corp. In a 2020 indictment, prosecutors alleged Aircraft Guarantee's owner, Deborah Mercer Irwin, and her daughter concealed the true ownership of aircraft and hid that they'd been improperly taken out of the country.
There was occasions where the plane was put in trust. Then that plane was repeatedly sold after that to other individuals, and they had no idea who the truthful owner of that plane was.
The G2 jet packed with 70 bales of cocaine.
And when law enforcement seized aircraft laden with drugs in Mexico and Central America, prosecutors alleged Mercer Irwin and her daughter sought to distance themselves by either deregistering or transferring ownership.
When you can conceal the true ownership of a plane, you're putting a lot of people in jeopardy.
But investigators found something that shocked them.
Digging into it further, it took a turn to something else.
We'll tell you about it after the break.